Yeah!
We're here.
Yeah! We are here, baby.
We made it.
We're here on Friday night. That's us, man. We're here.
We should have that loaded into our drops, our gift drops, since it's perfect for us.
I know. Well, we'll get it for next week. But for now, hello, everyone. Welcome to a drafting, picking, scrutinizing, celebrating, turtling, and falling. Oh no, Finn Balor, what happened? Matt, it's a hit-rowing episode of the Brothers of Discussion. We're talking the draft. We're talking some Dynamite, because it feels like every single episode has been really good. Man, we're talking Bryan Danielson making must-see TV out of Friday nights at 10 p.m. Matt, that and I don't know, maybe more. Time allowing, we're going to try and be as efficient with this episode as possible, just like we promise every week. But this time it's going to happen, Matt. We're going to do it. It's going to be efficient, I promise.
Woo!
Matt,
efficiency.
Before we get
to any good podcast about pro wrestling.
Absolutely.
We're probably still one of the shorter. We're still one of the shorter wrestling podcasts out there.
We're still maybe like a 5-minute snack. You know, we're not quite at the Joe Rogan level yet of wrestling. But Matt, pretty hot and spicy week. We had a draft. We had Dynamite. We have Bryan Danielson wrestling on television again. Matt, how are things at the Casa de Adieu and Tadieu?
Adieu. It's doing good. We're all sleepy. We're sleepy every day. As anybody who probably sees this as a notification because you subscribe to the Brothers of Discussion because you wanted to watch Red Wings stuff.
Oh no!
Everybody knows that there's been a lot of Red Wings
hearts.
A lot of Red Wings content going out recently, which means the hours that Matt's spending in bed just keep decreasing. Not that I want to get too depressing here to start the show, but there may have been a long conversation with my wife about I don't know how much longer I can do this. Staying up till 1, 2 in the morning to edit an episode just to throw it up and hopefully a couple of people watch. Yeah, this is a good way to start the episode. I take all the negative, all the depressing parts. Just ignore that. Matt's doing fine.
Matt, we had
hockey is good. All right, but we're talking pro wrestling today. So find us at BOD Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, shared account between some hockey and some wrestling. It's at brothers_of_discussion. Mike, how does the audio sound? I accidentally hit a button on my microphone when I first.
It is audible.
Okay, so you can hear me.
Oh yeah,
everything's. I mean, so the button I hit would add like a ton of echo if I hit the button as I was plugging in the microphone. So I wasn't sure if it was plugged in when I hit the button. So that's where. So I hit the button again.
This sounds like an AEW sound production meeting. So I plugged it in and I hit the button. So I should have hit it twice.
No,
or once.
Yeah, right. So I hit it twice to shut it off. But what if it wasn't plugged in when I initially hit the button? That would mean I actually turned it on. Oh no. Okay. So this is great podcasting.
You're about to be head of sound design for All Elite Wrestling, man. I'm very excited for that.
Actually, I want to check one more thing too, because we are live on Twitter as well. So we're trying something new out today for our watch along for our whatever we're calling this. There was a new button I could hit for our stream sharing service, and it said, "Why don't you try sharing on Twitter?" And I said, "Okay, why not?" So yeah.
Well, as far as watch along goes, can I just say that, Matt, if you were to just think of currently the best wrestlers on the planet, you usually hear like the AJs, you hear the Bryan Danielsons, you hear the Kenny Omegas. I gotta say, every single match I've ever seen of Bryan Danielson was really, really good. The guy has the best facial expressions of all three of those guys. Yep. His moves actually look like they hurt. While all three do impressive physical feats, I still feel like Daniels looked the most violent. for my money, there's nobody I'd rather pay to see live or on television for free than Bryan Danielson. Matt, hot take. Where do you put those three guys?
Wait for it.
Oh, it's coming. Would you be as dialed in if this was Kenny Omega versus a Buck?
Yeah, recap the question now that I hit the button there.
Bryan just reminded me that he is the greatest wrestler in the world right now. The other greatest wrestlers, I feel like people always throw in like the AJs, the Omegas, but for my money, it's Bryan.
I guess the best way to answer this is when I talk to my wife about pro wrestling. I most of the time when I'm talking about the best in the world. So like when I was describing Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson going at it, that's what I said. Is I said it's the two best wrestlers of the last 20 years. I think that is as close to verbatim as I can get when I was describing it. Okay. And I would just lean towards Bryan Danielson over Kenny Omega because I always looked at Bryan as someone like the face promos. They always came off a little corny. But
he says shit now when he's a good guy.
Yeah, well that's true. But I when he was in the WWE, I should say, it always came off a little corny. But he is real, he's fantastic at promos when he's a heel. It's just something for me with Kenny Omega. I feel like a lot of his stuff comes off as like, it almost feels like Kenny Omega shtick. Like it's like, aha, I can get away with this. This is what Kenny does. Haha, bang, bang.
Without further ado.
Yeah, like it's not that great. So, but what he does in the ring is fantastic. So that's where I'm going to give the nod to Danielson over Omega. He's not terrible. Not anybody who I don't absolutely love. It doesn't mean they're terrible, but I think it's pretty clear that Danielson's better.
I feel like when I watch Bryan fight, Omega. It looks like a violent ballet. When I watch Omega fight, it always makes me think of Flashdance.
Oh, which is not bad. Right?
I don't know if it's the best case scenario for a wrestling match, but every time he like does the V trigger and he always like kind of like snaps his head back like that. Like I think that, I don't know, he's, in a like a little sparkly onesie and different music should be playing. It should like a little cascade of water coming down and just kind of like, it looks more like a cologne commercial than professional wrestling. So that's just my humble opinion. But
still
he sold more t-shirts than I have. Yeah,
it's still entertainment. So I'm fine with it. Yeah, go for it, Kenny. You be
you. Yeah, we're getting to see a Punk promo here, Matt. And real quick, Matt, Punk in tights or Punk in trunks? Punk, I'm going. I think I'm going. Is it Punk pants or Punk trunks?
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I needed a better description. I was gonna say which one are trunks, because wrestling trunks are what Punk's wearing right now, which is he's got his little undies. But yeah, I don't like the shorts kind of deal. I don't like anything that's.
I think that's reserved for Samoa Joe and KO.
And you're right. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we're talking about CM Punk, like I want to see him in his wrestling trunks, right? Like that's vintage Punk. Is if I could steal from Michael Cole for a minute, like that's what I want to see him in. I just, it's got to be a nostalgia trip when I see CM Punk fight.
I think he went too long, like in trunks. Where when I saw him first return to the ring and he had pants on, I was like, oh no, Father Time is caught up to Punk. He's got a little wibble wobble in those quad muscles. Maybe a little. It happens to the best of us, little cottage cheese back there. But then his next fight, he was back to the trunks. He looked fine.
He's got a little bit of a getting old muffin top going over those trunks.
I mean, I do too. We're coming from a couple of guys growing, baking some nice muffins over here. We can get on board with Punk's little bakery.
Yeah, I just saw my reflection in the window while I was trying to put my baby boy to sleep.
Do you do that now? Did you see your reflection? Go, Jesus,
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I looked at my wife and I said, "How did you let it get like this?"
Yeah, I blame my woman too. Like, this is your doing. You haven't said anything in like 2 years. Now look.
We finished dinner today, and I went and grabbed we go to Costco and we got the giant box of brownie mix. So there's a bunch of packages of brownie mix in there. So I went and grabbed one of the plastic bags and I put it around the corner, from my kitchen to my living room. And all I did was shake the bag, and then I heard, and then I went back in the kitchen and made a batch of brownies. And that's where we're supposed to control each other, right? We're supposed to say, well, come on, Matt, you just also finished a Domino's pizza by yourself. Shout out to Domino's, by the way, Mike. Do the curbside pickup because everybody's short-staffed right now. I saw them through the window. So you do the curbside pickup. They have to get the pizza out to you in 2 minutes. So I hit on my phone. I'm there. And I saw the kid look up at the monitor. And he was just like, man, fuck this. And I waited like 10 minutes for my pizza. I get a free pizza. But, it'll be worth the wait when I go pick up that next free pizza. I'm all about it.
Oh, no.
It wasn't that bad. The only bad part was that for a moment I thought, I had the kids with me too, which is why I had to do curbside. And, we always try to limit as many opportunities to put kids in a COVID situation when they can't be vaccinated. So, they're just going to sit in the car. And they started crying a little bit.
By the way, we're getting a Nyla Rose
major triple
versus Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill. And I got to say, Nyla and Thunder Rosa kind of playing the part of, I don't know, Roman Reigns and Bryan Danielson. And Jade kind of playing the Braun Strowman, where we don't quite know what we're going to get. But she's big and powerful, and maybe just being next to those two, we'll get a good match out of her. She's, if she's at the grocery store, she'd be at the Leafy Greens. It's okay. She's just not there yet. But God damn, did she just drop a thunderous kick on Nyla Rose? It looked pretty good. If we're going to get Jade over, these are two women to really help sell. So I'm pumped.
I know this isn't exactly for anybody who's not going to be watching this while we have the podcast rolling. But shout out to wrestlers that make their moveset or their combinations look like they're playing a video game. Because Thunder Rosa started with the same 3-kick combo for both Jade and Nyla. And I'm all here for it because that's how I play the wrestling game. You've got your moveset to start. You don't want to immediately jump into a grapple situation. So you got to go the punch kick combo. And Thunder Rosa didn't just do the same. She didn't just go, I'm going to kick both of them. She did the same 3 to 4 kick combo to start the match on either girl. I like that. I'm all about it. It's a sound strategy. You got to wear them down before you can do the grapples. We all know that. So
I have a recipe. Yeah, I have a recipe, right?
Yeah.
You're getting the same batch of brownies that the other girl gets, right?
It goes all the way back to WCW NWO Revenge, right? Mike, probably the first game that we rented from Blockbuster that hit the 10 rental mark. I think that
we rented it so many times we should have just bought it. So I don't. Yeah, we were enabling Blockbuster. I think
it's one of those things where you're a kid and you could either give up, your $5 for the week that you got, your stipend from mom and dad. You give that up and you rent that game, or you got to save up and you can't play the game for a couple of months. So we made the right choice. I liked it. Good memories. Maximum Carnage, also the other game I think we rented all the time, which was the Spider-Man game where we played as Spider-Man and Venom.
Yeah, man, great drop, especially with Carnage coming out this weekend. Really
Venom just came out. Yeah, exactly. All right, Mike, let's jump into the WWE Draft while there's a break in the action here because
let's do it.
This mad scramble of watching AEW and talking wrestling is needs some structure to it. So, Mike, number 1, Roman Reigns. Number 2, Big E. Number 3, Charlotte. Number 4, Bianca. This is the round 1. The finish. I guess the first 4 picks go to. What am I trying to say here? These are the first 4 picks. This is the end of round 1. That's your first round. Mike, my initial thoughts were, holy shit, they had Bianca get drafted before Becky Lynch, before the champion. And my tweet was, what a nod to Bianca to draft her before the champ. And I said, man, this is good storytelling. This is the draft being used as a story driver. And I was wrong, Mike. Becky is not eligible. So all of those good feelings just go right out the window. And you realize they're just filling two different rosters. And I even tweeted, I said, you can do the draft two ways. This is how I was praising the Bianca Belair selection. I said, you do the draft one of two ways. You either do it just to make content for the week and you go, well, I guess it's time we do a draft, or you do it to drive storytelling. And clearly I fucked up and thought they were doing it to drive story when they were actually just doing it to give us content. So F- WWE for making some wrestlers not eligible to be drafted, and what could have ultimately helped tell a story. Because Mike, I wanted to go through the first round here to bring up this point. But the other side of this, Mike, just to throw this out there, I think what they're doing by having, the likes of Becky Lynch can't be drafted today.
Yeah.
That is them doubling down that any second, third, fourth tier wrestler, anybody mid-card or lower, is must-miss TV.
Well, here's what I'm going to say, man. I think what you wanted... This. Yeah, I think if you do enough fantasy sports and you do snake drafts, it's just kind of like, well, that's real fun. Whoever got the first pick, you're going to get the best player. Whoever got the second pick is going to get the second best player, and so on. So that Christian McCaffrey is always the guy who, went first. But the way their WWE is setting this up, it's a little bit more like an auction draft where only certain players are available in certain rounds, and you got to try and, stagger it accordingly depending on what's available and try and get the best available, and kind of do it that way. So as somebody who likes auction drafts, I kind of get what they're going for, and
Shut
I feel
up.
Like they got a lot of value, and
that's not what they're doing.
And they got Biggie and Bianca, like two of the biggest black superstars available right now. So I think it's kind of cool the way they're building that out and getting Keith Lee eventually. So this, I'm kind of excited for Raw. I'm kind of excited to see Biggie versus the Bearcat. It's in our future, man.
That's fine. You can be excited for that. I just don't know why we can't try and take advantage of these moments to help tell this fucking
I think,
story.
Matt, the answer. Because the first round of the NFL draft is one of the most highly rated television productions annually. But Saturday is rounds 3 through 7 because no one gives a fuck. No one cares who's in the 7th round. I think this is the only way to make the talent feel like they're part of the pool. Rather than, are we really going to stick it around and, am I going to turn on Sunday Night Heat to see who the 15th round wrestlers are? No! You just kind of do it off camera like they did last year.
So I guess that's my point then. So it's just like we know what's happening. It's not like it's a secret, right? So they've told us, all right, well, Becky's not going to get drafted tonight. So now we know she's going in that first round the next night, where it was actually kind of exciting for a little bit, where we were going, holy shit, Bianca got picked over Becky Lynch. Like that could have been a conversation for tonight. Now there's nothing. Now it's just, oh, right. Of course, these other guys are going to be drafted after Becky Lynch. It begs the question, why bother?
I mean, that's
why did I
think what you need to do, man. You've been out of the fantasy football game for a while. I think you need to try out an auction draft. And if the first round of an auction draft, had every single player on the Chiefs, and then every single player on the Ravens and the Cowboys, and then by the 12th round you're drafting Jared Goff, or spending $1 on Jamal Williams on the Lions. It's you're gonna be done. Yeah, I don't need to see televised Jared Goff auction bids. You know what I mean?
I don't want to ever watch your first round of your auction bid. I don't want to watch a second of that. You can't compare the two at all.
They are one and the same. They are one and the same.
I don't want to watch a fantasy draft where our planet is fighting for its life and we have to win a fantasy.
Now, let me ask you this, Matt. Okay, you don't like this current setup. Okay, I'm wondering, would you like it a little bit more if we double down on my analogy? Now, what I mean by that is, not only are we kind of setting this up like an auction draft, but we also have a salary cap for each brand. And Roman Reigns is making like $5 million a year. So you can have him and eat up a bunch of salary cap, or you call up the hit row and get that cheap asset that you have company control over for the next like 5 years, and they're going to be really cheap. So you'll have a little more wiggle room. Maybe you can make a champ out of that. How do you feel about maybe adding a salary cap and making it transparent how much more money Roman Reigns makes than Dominic Mysterio?
I think they could come up with some fake numbers too to kind of drum up like,
oh, these are going to be real.
This is real important. Roman Reigns is like, pretend like Raw and SmackDown have like 500 million to throw around, but Roman Reigns is collecting, 300 mil. So like, do it up like that. Like that would actually be kind of cute and fun. I'd be all for that. But even if you don't do that and you do the real, the real dollars going between checkbook to pro wrestler, that's still a great idea. I don't know why we can't just infuse something like that. The thought that I had is, why aren't we, when I say try and tell a story with this, why don't you make it so important to one brand that, why can't we just have fun with it and have Raw give up a couple of picks to make sure, or have SmackDown give up a couple of picks to make sure that the New Day sticks together. Or no, I did say that right the first time, to make sure the New Day sticks together. Why force them to break up? This is a good transition for us to kind of run through the rest of these here. Oh, and of course, I lost my spot where the draft was. But let me pull that up real quick.
Yeah, get the draft up. You don't want to miss out on SmackDown getting Jeff Hardy and Raw sneaking in with that Austin Theory pick. Oh!
So round 2 starts with Drew McIntyre, then RK Bro goes to... Oh, I'm sorry. McIntyre to SmackDown, RK Bro to Raw. Then it's Kofi and Xavier going to SmackDown, and Edge goes to Raw, and that ends round number 2. So, like we mentioned earlier, it was Big E that was getting drafted to Raw, so they're forcing this breakup of the New Day here, or a continued breakup, I guess. When, they're what I'm bringing up was basically,
I guess.
Oh my God, yes, they crave it so much after just letting them kind of look at each other this past weekend at Extreme Rules, and the internet blew up at the thought.
I hope with the first pick on Monday that Monday Night Raw drafts the Usos. That's all I want.
I guess. I just don't even care anymore. That's where my head's at. I don't want to be here anymore.
Can we do the rest of the results, Tim Robinson? You still want to be here.
Round 3, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss staying on SmackDown. Then you've got Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley going to Raw. Hit Row going to SmackDown, which I think is probably the most fun draft pick that happened today. And then Keith Bearcat Lee going to Raw, which I think you're saying is maybe the second most exciting draft pick, because we're going to see 2 big meaty men slapping meat. And we got Big E and Bearcat. Round 4 continues. We're feeling the glow. It's Naomi goes over to SmackDown. Rey Mysterio and Dominic, they're sticking on Raw, right? Or no, they're moving to, I don't know.
Yeah, they're moving. They were a SmackDown team.
Jeff Hardy, Friday nights on SmackDown. And this one's kind of funny. Austin Theory going over to Raw. There was a lot of speculation today that Johnny Gargano was going to be moved. But his buddy from the way, Austin Theory, is going to Raw. I thought it was absolute gold what was being created with the way on NXT, but clearly they are going in different directions from where we were with NXT 1.0, and this might just be on that list of things that we're never going to see again. Austin Theory.
Let me do this. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get as much. I've been away from the way because I've so divorced myself from Tuesday nights. But
I
Matt, I
pretty
want to
much
ask
have
you.
to.
I have a hot take for you here.
Go for it.
All right.
Oh, right. No.
Yes, Matt. I think the most exciting thing is the way they prominently featured black wrestlers tonight. Biggie, Bianca, Bearcat, and then the other members of the New Day got Hit Row and Naomi. Matt, what do you think was one of the exciting positives? Your favorite exciting positive out of this draft, out of these results?
Oh,
Are
can
you
I
saying
not
Hit
pick?
Row?
Yeah, should I not say Hit Row? Because that was my pick.
Yeah, I want to hear you talk about
So-
Hit Row for a minute. Give me a couple tweets about Hit Row.
I actually put Hit Row in my fake WWE draft where I had to pick 3 from each. And part of the reason I did it was because I think, it's ridiculous that SmackDown doesn't say, I'm going with the Bloodline.
Breaking
as my
news.
first pick.
I want to hear you, but Matt, we just got breaking news about who Sammy Guevara is going to defend his new TNT championship against. You ready
go
for this?
it. Yeah.
Bobby Fish.
Oh my God.
Woo!
No way. Wow. All right. So probably what are we saying? Like the whole Undisputed
Bring
Era
him
is
in.
not long for this NXT 2.0. I mean,
bring
Hit
Roddy
Row
in
wasn't long for that world.
Wow.
How did we miss that? Where is this?
It just got announced tonight. Yeah.
So then this was news that was out there. We were just talking about how we've been good boys and we don't spoil Rampage, but yeah, that's holy shit. Yeah, eventually I'll get a moment here to check out Twitter, but I absolutely love the Hit Row. I think they come in with a lot of I love the confidence and the way that they wrap out their promos is incredible. I think it's not like we're watching John Cena do it. Like this isn't nerdy. This is incredibly cool. And it makes me want to be a part of the Hit Row. Like I want to be friends with them is the kind of swag that they carry. I feel like that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine is dating a super cool rock climber dude, and George, he just wants to hang out with him. He's always down with that. He's gonna go rock climbing with this guy and make sandwiches, and he's so excited to make him a sandwich. He wants to know if he wants peanut butter and jelly or tuna or pastrami, and the guy could not care less, which is probably how the Hit Row feels about us. But I just I'm all about the Hit Row. So jokingly, again, I said I wanted them to be drafted because I think, when they do these drafts, they should be smart about it and say, I'm drafting the Bloodline. And then, I'm drafting the New Day. So then my second pick was Hit Row for SmackDown. But they came a little bit later in the draft, but still along the lines of what I was hoping.
How do you think that they're going to be cast for their new role on the main roster? What do you think is the projection for how Hit Row is going to be used on SmackDown?
If they were going to change what Hit Row was, they would not have drafted Hit Row. They would have drafted Swerve, right? They would have just drafted the Adonis. Beef, it would have just been B-Fab coming up. But it's not that. We're going to keep them all together. I think they're going to come out and be Hit Row, and I think we're starting in the mid card. I think that makes sense. And this is something where Swerve we were looking at while he was tearing it up in NXT, especially with starting Hit Row. I said this guy's it will not take long for him to be holding that NXT championship, but clearly they see so much in Hit Row, especially like seeing what it could mean for the main roster right now. I think clearly the WWE has, they're making a transition right now to be more open to just picking the absolute best guys on the roster. And I don't know if they care anymore like Swerve is one of the best pro wrestlers right now. I have no problem saying that. He is awesome. He is fantastic on the mic. And I think right now where they just see this vision for Hit Row, I think they're just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I kind of feel like this is the transition we're making right now, and where they spent so many years trying to mix in. This is what we see is right for WWE. Plus, this is what the indie fan scene wants, and they were trying to mix that together for so long. I think they're just going to go, nope, WWE's different. We're going to go with these big personalities that can carry themselves on the mic. They don't even need to go in the ring. But that's where Swerve and the rest of Hit Row are going to make that difference, because they actually are pretty successful in the ring as well. So I mean, there's only one ceiling, right, for WWE. You eventually are the champion. You're either WWE or Universal. So I have no problem saying, it's not like I'm going to sit here and go, I don't know if Swerve can do. Anybody could do it. Anybody could get to the top. So it's definitely in the cards. I would say there is nothing about Swerve's game on the mic, his game in the ring, that would suggest he isn't worth a shot with a main roster title. That's probably the best way to put it. It probably sounds like I'm politicking here, but there's nothing in what he brings to the ring that would say he's not worth that shot.
Yeah. It's just kind of cool too that potentially we're one draft pick away from SmackDown having New Day, Hit Row, and Street Profits. So it's not like there's a token black tag team that, used to be, running through, the WWE ranks. There's 3 with legitimate, spots to like win, be successful, sell t-shirts, get microphone time. And, all kind of have their own, backstories and angles. So at least that part of it's kind of cool that we're, in this, 2021 where we have some variety, and that's a little nugget, I think, to be optimistic about for sure. And right now, by the way, we just have Orange Cassidy and Jack Evans going at it in a hair versus hair match.
I've got my hot tag for you, Mike. If you go through this draft list where I mentioned that the WWE is making this transition to just say, fuck it, we're just going with these big personalities, larger than life. We're going with the old, we've got the superheroes on WWE. My hot tag is, can you find somebody on the male side of who was drafted today that would fit in perfectly with AEW? No problem.
Would fit in perfectly.
Oh, you know what? There's an easy answer to that. Never mind.
In AEW, no problem?
Yeah, like just immediately fits in with what's going on over at AEW, and there won't be any sort of hiccup and transition between what they've got going on. I mean, like the point I'm making is that, these guys are solidly, planted in WWE, most of these guys. I mean, we're definitely not going to be looking at Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss as making their way over to AEW. I want to find. I gotta
think the name you're looking at, and it's because he would easily be, he'd be the Whitekowski. He'd be the biggest man in the company. Would be Keith Lee.
Oh, that does work out.
Because I think Big E should be entrenched as a WWE pillar for a while. He's that kind of loud, charismatic guy. He'd be fine on AEW. He'd make a hell of a lot of money doing that too. Randy's not going anywhere. Riddle, I love him. I just think that Keith Lee, the Bearcat, is probably the way to go. Because I still don't feel like we've ever gotten a chance to really let his let Keith Lee be Keith Lee. I felt like he immediately got called up and got neutered a little bit. I saw him second guessing himself in the ring because they were trying to tell him to tone it down when he was doing his sprint before he would crash into you like a big grizzly bear. And they were telling him to be a little bit more serious and grounded with his attacks. And I don't think that that's him. I think he likes to have a little bit of flair with his offense. And when they coached him to stop doing that, and then he got sent down, and they're trying to reboot him again, which shows they do care about him. They made him a night 1 draft pick, But yeah, I think this is a guy who would do swimmingly well in AEW. Probably too well because he's so much bigger than everybody who fights on Wednesday and Friday nights. But were you trying to lead the witness somewhere else, man?
I actually thought you were gonna go with Jeff Hardy because I figured he comes in and fights with Matt for a couple of months and then they both sail off into the sunset. Jeff getting drafted pretty late today. We got to jump into some of the comments here though. We're backing up a little bit. Greg's here. He wants to see Hit Row versus the Street Profits, or Hit Row against the New Day. And making the correlation here between 90s East Coast, West Coast gangster rap. I like the idea that they could actually do this as like the newcomers and do that from either side of what was brought up here with Street Profits or the New Day. And just we were tearing it up in NXT, and now here we come to tear up, where did they get drafted? SmackDown. That's some intriguing stuff. Jacoby's here. What's up, boy?
Hey, how you doing, Jacoby?
And then I think he picked Kevin Owens. I think this is Jacoby. This is probably for when I was saying who would fit in instantly with AEW. But I was specifically talking about who is drafted today. Trying to draw the line that WWE is making a point about who is getting drafted today, or these big larger.
Depending on the timing, was he saying that KO is the one going to AEW? Because that would be a match made in heaven. Yeah,
I don't think he was drafted today. Was what I was saying.
Oh no, okay.
But yeah, more along the lines. Jacoby, you missed our earlier conversation of just how frustrating it is to call this a draft, and guys like, for me,
I like some of us like auction drafts. All right,
it's not an auction draft. Not an auction draft. In any way,
it is in a way because there's pools that you can pull. There's pools, man. There's pools. It's a pool draft. You can't just take all the good players. We gotta have something to watch on Monday night, man. Nobody watches the 15th round of the baseball draft. Nobody watches past the first round of any draft. So, Matt, what they're doing, smart move.
No, I get it. Listen, I think it's stupid.
No, here's what we're doing. All right, listen. Everybody only watches the first round, right? Here's what we're gonna do. Should we have 2 first rounds?
It makes me
hold on. Wait
tonight.
May I finish?
I don't want to watch the next.
May I finish?
Sure.
Okay. So
here we go. Jacoby's with me. See, Mike, you could stop explaining.
Listen, no, I haven't finished.
How they get people to watch.
Not only are we gonna have 2 first rounds, we're gonna have. Get with me. You ready? 4 first rounds. Because somehow.
Okay. Yeah. Try and explain 4 first rounds.
I will. All right. Not only are Biggie and Roman Reigns first round picks, but so are Bianca and Charlotte. We have 4 first rounds. That's just one night. So then we're going to do it again come Monday. 4 more first rounders. Matt, how's AEW possibly going to match up with us? And we have 8 first round picks. Woo! How many first round picks did you have, All Elite Wrestling?
Can I just say, like, they're what if they did something like this is me just trying to spitball off the top of my head. What if we did like a white elephant?
You've been planning this for years.
What if we do like a white elephant, right? You do all your drafts on Friday, and then on Monday you can try and like steal a present from your buddies, but then they can steal something from your roster.
I thought you meant that you could put like a box of crap in the ring, and then you just like when
So you're gifting.
You're gifting.
Here, you can have Baron Corbin. I don't want this shit.
Oh man, I got to get rid of this. I think that
put it on your list. You put it on your list of things you like.
It's like if you ever go to a library book sale and they'll have those grab bags where it's in a sealed envelope and you don't know what you're taking home, and then you get home and it's like a kid's story written by Dominic Mysterio. You're like, oh man, I'm not gonna read this. Who's this for? So, Lucha Dead. That's what it's called.
Yeah, Jacoby's upset about the New Day going back to Raw. It's just another missed opportunity. But I still like my idea that we talked about earlier of doing the you trade, you want the New Day to be with Big E so bad, you trade your next 2 picks to make sure that, you move up a spot so that you can get the New Day before Raw does. Like, that is how this should be booked, or get it before SmackDown does. God, and I'm mixing it up too, because the New Day's over on SmackDown, aren't they? And then
Yes, they are, man.
this is so fucking confusing. Oh my god! And then Becky Lynch wasn't available to be drafted. What the fuck are we doing,
man? We gotta have 4,
now
8 first round picks, man.
Just let me ask you this: when AJ Styles gets drafted on Monday, does he get drafted with Omos, or is he going to be a solo draft?
I don't know. Well, you know what? We're gonna see how savvy those GMs are, man.
But wouldn't you draft, wouldn't the idea be, I'm going to draft them as a tag team and then I can split them up and now I've got 2 guys? Like, that should be, there has to be some game to this. There has to be some gamification, sporting infusion
now, the way
this stupid draft.
The way that they're booking it is, we are prioritizing, for example, Big E, the single star. But I've agree with you. I've yet to see a kayfabe reason for why, as the GM, you wouldn't try and cheat and Iser plan these other teams and be like, we're taking the New Day, so we get all of them, all 3. And it's like, no, that's bullshit. You get 1 or 2 as a tag team. You don't get all 3. And you're like, no, fuck you. My first round pick is all of the New Day. That's my pick. And then with my second pick, you know who I'm taking? The 4 horsewomen. Boom. I get all of them. Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, all 4 of them. Suck it. And then you just Triple H your way to victory with the greatest brand ever.
I think that is exactly what I did in my draft. All right. So pick 1, I did the New Day. Pick number 2 going to SmackDown was the Bloodline. Pick 3 was the Hurt Business. Pick 4 was the 4 horsewomen. Pick 5 was Legado del Fantasma, and pick 6 was Hit Row.
Jesus, man! All right, I that's a little heavy for me.
So that's 6. Yeah, that's 6 draft picks, and 100 superstars just moved. And then pick 7 was WCW's NWO. So you get all those alumni superstars, but only for your show.
Yeah, you really rained on my parade, because I was going to take New Day first round, second round 4 horsewomen, third round NXT.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, you got me.
I was drafting NXT with my 3rd pick.
All right. Yeah, I'm glad I went first. Mine was better.
Yeah. I think my drafting NXT would have been a little bit better than SmackDown going, well, we got Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. Bingo, bingo.
Jacoby's got another good one too. Austin Theory, really? And he's he's I think begging the question here, and correct me if I'm wrong, why wouldn't you just draft the Way? And then if you send him back down to NXT, that happens.
Here's what
Who
we
cares
don't
about
know.
NXT? You draft the Way. You get Andy.
That's
you
another
probably get
missed
Dexter
opportunity.
Lumis at this point too.
Yeah, that's another missed opportunity. But I think we deserve to know who is in the pools, right?
Yeah,
if we find out that the pools had all these other guys available, you're like, it does 2 things, right? You can give Austin Theory a little more credibility to be like, wow, he got drafted over Becky Lynch. What a pick, But if we also, it kind of be a double-edged sword, right? Because then if we know who was available and there was only 8 people to pick from, you're like, oh, well, I guess someone had to pick Austin Theory. There was only 10 names available. Then you kind of go, okay, well,
Yeah, does that mean that everybody who was not picked tonight can be picked on Monday? Like, if there was, let's say there was a pool, right, Mike, for your,
pool.
You love tonight, Mike. Are people who are not drafted in this first pool available in the Monday pool?
Yeah,
they are. Oh, okay. Well, okay.
I don't know.
There goes any of my.
That's why we got to see who else is in that pool, man. Because You could have taken Tommaso Ciampa, and instead you picked a
Oh,
wild
God.
card in Austin Theory.
Yeah, what the fuck were they
You picked
thinking? You
the
could have had
enigmatic
Ciampa.
enigma in Jeff Hardy to round out that mid card.
I mean, it would at least give us more to tweet about, but I guess all we want to do is just they got my tweets, right? They got me excited about Bianca being drafted early and then Hit Row being drafted. So they, mission accomplished, I guess. That's all they're really looking for. Mike, at some point, I know we're still I have AEW on in the background.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
You just got Jack Evans got a haircut against Orange Cassidy.
Oh, I might be way far behind. Oh my God! Yeah, the show's over, right?
Yeah, it's over, man. 11:05.
It's over. You should have stopped.
Not only is it pre-taped, the tape is over, man.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm watching it on Xfinity, and I'm watching it on my recorded cloud shows. And when I go away from the tab, it pauses it because it's a pretty good app. I like it. All right, nobody cares. Moving on. Yeah, Rampage is over. Matt's dumb shit. It's been over for 6 minutes.
Matt missed the dirt sheets. He didn't know it was pre-taped, and he missed the review of the tape.
I was live tweeting the Red Wings preseason game yesterday, and I missed so the game ended 6-2. It's 8 goals. All I saw was one empty net goal. Out of the 8 goals, I missed every other fucking goal.
Man, that's like tuning in tonight and only seeing the Austin Theory pick. You really screwed the pooch on that.
I fucked up. So we have to talk about the end of Extreme Rules, right? I mean, I think overall the show was.
Did we get an explanation tonight of why?
Oh, I don't think we did. Somebody has video online that they shared. Somebody took at the show. So the camera guy was on the ropes with a pair of scissors and cut the turnbuckle, and then he jumped back down from the corner and lifted up his camera. Now, Mike, my question to you, was that a fake camera, do you think? Do you think he was a plant out there pretending to take pictures and he was only going to cut the turnbuckle? Or did they have the camera guy go through coaching earlier in the day and have to maybe practice cutting a couple of turnbuckles so he knew exactly how thick and hard that would be? Like, what's your guess?
I gotta think, much like Bad Bunny, he was in the Matt Bloom war room for about 6 months learning how to properly cut that turnbuckle. So we had him tumbling, we had him taking bumps, we had him doing a few saison classes, learning how to cut hair, and then we moved him up to turnbuckles. And Matt, I gotta say, with surgical precision, what an amazing ending to Extreme Rules. That was, I will never forget that night. I don't know if they wanted a great wrestling story, but if they wanted something unforgettably stupid, they nailed it. That night will live in infamy, Matt, along with the Sparkler night in AEW.
Capping it off as to remind everybody that it is spelled Extreme Rules, I think is more fitting for that ending. I tend to believe that it was a camera guy who's coached up, because if you go back and watch that, it was not a smooth transition between Finn Balor getting to the top rope and him falling. He had to jump a couple of times. It was like he was getting ready. Maybe he was trying to loosen it up. Come on.
The ropes are gonna break. Whoa!
But it was such a... All right, so just to talk about the idea to do this and get away from who actually did it, I think it's one of the most ridiculous, nonsensical. It completely takes anybody who's our age, I guess. The kids who watch it can still enjoy it, and not everything in WWE is for the older children like us who watch it. But some things could be for us, right? I just don't do the Demon Balor thing. Isn't that the easiest solution to all of this? They didn't want Demon Balor to look beatable.
I think.
And they did the heartbeat, wake him back up. But the whole, falling off the ropes and then the lights come back on, he's grabbing his knee. like he's Peter Griffin.
Yeah, I don't know how he got hurt so bad when his finisher is literally that plus 8 more feet up into the air when he springs off of the top rope.
Yeah, it's just it makes no sense. It's bad booking, and there's so many different ways. It's almost like they decided they were going to go with Roman Reigns right before the match started, and they had to come up with something. And that's where they went around and asked all the cameramen who had scissors, and then one guy had his hand up.
Anybody got scissoring experience?
But yeah,
I know what their plan was, right? They threw in Demon Balor to get the hardcore fans like us to tune in and be like, oh my god, maybe this is how Roman Reigns actually goes down. All the smarks, we all know that one of the more protected entities outside of Roman Reigns' spear, it was Demon Balor. So we thought, wow, maybe this is finally an opportunity. It's an extreme rules match with weapons. Lesnar is kind of on the peripheral. Maybe this is how Balor is going to triumph over Roman Reigns, who is infallible. He is the Pope right now. He can do no wrong. And they tricked us, Matt. Shame on us. Shame on us.
I got excited. I said in the last episode,
I was not going to watch Extreme Rules. If it was just a Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns match, I would have been like, maybe I'll have it on my phone and I'll watch, The Wire on TV, But I was like, oh boy, man, listen to that music. Look at that body paint. This is the night. And then shame on me for getting my hopes up.
Well, I think I think we both agree on that. So I'm just going to end up regurgitating what you just said.
Let's keep beating that dead horse. All right.
I wanted to ask, what do you think was better, Extreme Rules or Monday Night Raw the next night? I guess I'm leading the witness here on my answer. You got two major Big E segments. I was all about Big E's Big Night number 2.
Whichever program had more Big E wins by default. So give me Monday Night Raw. Yeah.
I mean, you had the return of the Hurt Business, and we had New Day and Hurt Business going at it. We had those teases where we thought maybe the New Day was getting back together, which would have been great. But yeah, and then Big E getting that huge win over Bobby Lashley. It wasn't, you're in a cage. There's some shenanigans going on, but I think they still leaned like they were more Hurt Business shenanigans than New Day. So I feel like it was the cleanest win anybody had gotten over Lashley since his dominance started. So clearly they've passed the torch to Big E as the new big bruiser for Raw. And all of that put together, I think is like that whole show is just a great story of saying, Big E is your champion. This wasn't a 1 week Money in the Bank victory. You're going to be watching Big E for a while holding on to this belt. And they pretty much wrapped the whole show around making sure you understood that for Big E, that he's it. He's good to go, settle in and enjoy. And I'm all about that. And I don't know how like anybody watches Extreme Rules. Again, like who's the person that's going to turn that on to want to watch like this tease that we all saw coming of like I mentioned, I said on last week's episode, Demon Balor's going to get real close and I'm going to get real excited and then I'm going to get real mad, which is exactly what happened. So I don't know. I don't know where to go with this conversation, but I was bummed with it, and I don't know if there's looking at the match card here, I did thoroughly enjoy Becky Lynch and Bianca. And I did think that should have just been like, while I was watching the match, I said this should have been the main event. And then, the ending with Sasha just kind of took me out of that. And I went, okay, well, that didn't go great.
Yeah. It took an A match down to like a C+.
Yeah.
The funny thing about you asking me to rank Extreme Rules and Monday Night Raw is that Extreme Rules, most of the finishes felt like Monday Night Raws, right? Where they didn't want to, close the book on these feuds. So they didn't have a definitive clean finish for Balor versus Reigns. They didn't have a definitive clean finish for Bianca versus Becky. So it's just
It's a lot of like, we don't want to make any decisions here for who is being anointed here, who's
here's the
moving up
thing.
or down.
Look, when we watch AEW, they only do the 4 pay-per-views. And then in between, they sprinkle in these special events where Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson fight each other, right? Or they'll do Fight for the Fallen on free TV. They'll have these incredible tag team matches on free TV. And it'll make it feel like, man, I don't ever want to miss Dynamite because there's going to be something really cool on. And it's like the exact opposite for these like in between pay-per-views for WWE, where it's like, what the hell am I going to watch this for? Because I know they're going to treat it like Raw. Nothing of consequence is actually going to happen. Like, it doesn't make it feel special. It makes it feel like, ugh, I guess I'll skip HBO tonight because there's a pay-per-view on. Ugh.
Right. Then, it's making me feel like we can just watch these later. You can kind of just go to WWE, go to their Twitter. We can put out a couple of tweets. Nobody will be the wiser. They won't even know we're not watching it. And then we can enjoy our night and watch something good on HBO. I do want to throw out there, I think Greg here is talking about the ropes breaking, saying it happened to Yokozuna twice. Originally, it was strategy used by Hitman, and then Stone Cold used it. Now, Mike, real quick, what would you guess, with this being the strategy to stop Yokozuna and the ropes breaking? Give me how far do you think their weight difference is? What put a number on it?
I gotta think Yokozuna weighed what? Kayfabe, was he 450 pounds, 500 pounds? Balor is maybe $175. But Demon Balor has the weight of hell on his feet. So he could be 2.5 tons for all we know.
All right. It actually is a difference of 399 pounds. Almost, yeah, of course.
Are you saying from Yokozuna to Demon Balor or regular Balor up to Yokozuna?
Yes, the regular Finn, 190 pounds.
Demon Balor's roughly 2 Yokozunas.
Can I just say, like, they put Yokozuna, I asked for the build weight from Google. They said 589 pounds. Is there a reason they didn't just go another 11 pounds and make it 600? What are we missing there?
It's one of those.
Is that an insurance thing?
No, I think that's one of those mental tricks where 589. Man, that's huge. Or like 600 pounds. It's like, yeah, but that guy's 589. Wow. Yeah, it's all them digits. Yeah.
When you price things out, you see those 9s on the end. It feels better than reading 600 pounds on top of me. No way. And then they're like, no, Yokozuna's only 589. Like, you can rattle that 589 off, and you're not even really paying attention. You say 600 pounds, then you're paying attention.
I think here's how I would imagine it, Matt. Imagine you're on the bench press, right? Somebody puts 2.
I'm being bench pressed.
You're being bench
pressed. All right, Yokozuna's bench pressing me. All right, I'm there.
All right, so here's what's going on. You're doing a bench press, man, and somebody puts 2 300-pound weights on either side of the bar. You're like, oof, this is gonna be tough for me. Or they put 2 250-pound weights, 2 20-pound. 2 40-pounders on each
piece
side.
Of paper.
Yeah, let me crunch the numbers here. And then they got to fill it in with that other 9, man. So they got to get not just 4 and 4 on each side, but they got to get a couple 2.5s on each side. You know how long those weights are going to be on the bar?
Now,
you know what it's like? It's like ever write down a Roman numeral?
Yeah.
Like if you do 600, it's just like 6 L's. But man, if you're gonna write down 589, that's so many fucking Roman numerals, man.
We do have. I'm happy that people are coming to watch the live. So Patrick Denny can give us the info. He was released because of his weight, and certain states wouldn't allow him to wrestle in that state. So that could very well be why they didn't want to pass that 600-pound. Marker, but I feel like if there were rules about letting people wrestle, it'd probably be 500, right? Like that would be.
Man, I wouldn't fat shaming. Jesus.
No, you can't work in this state. You weigh 589 pounds. Get home and sit down where you belong. I don't know. Greg, the Fiend resides in several superstars, very similar to Voldemort and the Horcruxes. That's why the Demon Balor pops up like the Fiend. So, hey, we've got Malachi Black level storytelling continuing throughout the WWE. So, Greg, I think you're inferring that Demon Balor is the weight of Finn Balor plus Wyndham Rotunda. So that, and he's getting thinner as we speak. So hot tag for everybody listening. Does the weight count as what WWE build him at? Or if Wyndham Rotunda continues to lose weight, does Demon Balor's added weight from the spiritual presence of the Fiend also decrease? Do we even know?
Is he losing weight, or is it finding its way into Demon Balor?
This is the dumbest fucking conversation we've ever. Oh my god!
Are those washboard abs of Demon Balor going to start filling in with Wyndham meat?
Wyndham meat?
Wyndham meat. It's like the Wendigo, but it's the Wyndham.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's down. Yeah,
it's a Canadian.
Wow, we already got a character name for Rotunda in AEW.
Wyndham meat. The Fiend. This is Greg. The Fiend pushed Yoko's gluttony, made him eat himself to death. Technically. Oh boy. Wow. That's those are some tremendous powers traveling through time.
This is going to be some really good fanfic on Reddit. I like this a lot. Yeah.
Mike, where do we go from here? I don't think we've ever flown off the tracks further. Is there any way we can bring this back, or should we sail off into the sunset?
Well, we got to say goodbye to some people this week, namely Evil Alexa Bliss. Speaking of the Fiend having a presence everywhere, no longer an Alexa, I'm thinking. And man, we had to say rest in peace to the beloved Lily, who was ripped in half by Charlotte. Not a fan of dolls. WWE's Barbie doll, not a fan of other dolls. Matt, what was your favorite Lily memory?
Oof. I don't even think
This is our memorandum for Lily.
The only thing I can remember there being like a significant moment was when Charlotte got her doll.
Charlie.
There you go. I'm glad you're here.
Did they pronounce it Charlie or Charlie? It just sounds more like Charlie.
Yeah,
I think it was the first night they ever zoomed in on Lily, and I was like, this thing's not that creepy. And they zoomed in, and the teeth were like little stitched in like white tooths, like coming out of the little puppet.
Is there any chance that this is being done out of, maybe not out of respect for Wyndham Rotunda, but like just like, all right, let's stop doing the Fiend gimmick because this was his own baby, and he's about to go to another company. He's gone through quite a year. So let's end what we're doing here. Is there any chance that came into play with ending what's going on with Alexa? Because clearly Alexa can make other things work. We've seen it in the past, so she doesn't need this to get over. You think there's any chance that figured into any sort of decision making? And of course, Jacoby thrown out there. We saw reported earlier this week that she's going to be out a couple of months. So she's taken. I'm assuming those 2 months to just hang out at Disney World for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. I hope we see her down there and she can teach us the perfect cast dance. Because my God,
does she know the perfect cast dance?
Yeah, it's like perfect, like step for step. It's really good.
Which I will still, nobody gives a shit, but I will say it's impossible to know that dance because of the way the movie is shot. They cut away from Goofy. They have shots of Max and his hijinks. They have shots of Powerline watching the dance. Nobody knows that full dance. You have to make up bullshit in the middle.
This is the original
I've watched a Goofy
Golden
movie,
Briefcase from Pulp Fiction. Is Goofy doing the perfect cast dance?
I'm telling you, nobody knows the perfect.
Somewhere there's a Pulp Fiction briefcase with the lost reels of the complete perfect cast dance. So yeah, I mean, if it's just weird, right? If like Jacoby said with Alexa being out, it feels like her fiendish stuff would be perfect because on you just kind of show up, do character stuff, and then kind of float away. But instead, I don't know if they're just removing her for a while, or like Jacoby, I think suggesting is giving her like a reboot.
I wonder if it's just not a reboot, but we're just coming back, and it's like she's been exercised.
Oh, she's been exercised.
Yeah, the demon has been exercised, so now she's just Alexa Bliss again, right?
Okay. Yeah, get on board with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have to throw out there, Benjamin Davis. I don't know if he's talking about SmackDown, Rampage.
I know he's talking about us. He's talking about Brothers of Discussion. Benjamin, I appreciate the shout out, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a great show tonight. Thanks, Ben.
Ben, what was your because we haven't heard from you yet? What was your standout moment, if any, from the draft? I just thought it was cool again that we got like 8 different Black superstars actually being featured prominently on night one. This is a weird, great, refreshing era to be in as a pro wrestling fan. That it's not just a bunch of white dudes in mullets running the show. It's real talented, diverse characters. This is pretty cool. But I know there's a few other things in AEW you want to take a look at. They had Brody Lee Appreciation Night the other night, Matt.
I'll just Michael Scripp throwing out there that Alexa will not be spending her 2 months at Disney World. She's having sinus surgery. So
damn it.
Second those sinuses are good to go, out to the parks to celebrate 50 years. Hopefully we'll run into her because we'll be there.
No, I was just going to say this. Let's do a little bit of AEW as well, just because it was kind of cool to see Brody Lee Appreciation Night. -1 got to go out there and re-inspire the troops because it looked like Dark Order was on the verge of breaking up, and what was going to be an absolutely ridiculous amount of humanity in a 8 versus 8 16-man tag team match. Way too many human beings, Matt. Even a Royal Rumble, that's a little much. I wouldn't have minded Braun Strowman making an AEW cameo just to throw some of these bodies over the top rope, but it was a nice moment for Brody's family. Nice moment for the Dark Order. And that AEW crowd loved that match, which I think they loved it more than they had any reason to, being an 8 versus 8 16-man match where you hardly get a chance to showcase yourself. But we did still get some nice moments out of especially my boy, Johnny Hungy.
How about coming up, though, we have the Casino Ladder match to get an AEW Championship match. Winner of the Casino Ladder match this upcoming Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. I guess the intrigue here, even though there's 2 guys who still haven't been announced in this match, there's also a Joker that will be in this match. Now, first thought could be, and I'm going to come back to the Fiend because clearly his mask is the Fiend mask was based off of the Joker, or at least there were some inspirations from the Joker and the who are those writers? I probably have that back here somewheres. Mike, do you know those writers? Is that Capullo? Right?
Wait, the writers for what?
For the Batman series where the Joker had his face ripped off.
Oh, God. I just know who it wasn't. I don't think it was my buddy Brian Vaughn. I don't think it was Sale.
Snyder and Capullo?
Yeah, that's a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back on track.
Yeah, anyway, I'm glad I took the time to make sure I got
because we got 6 of these participants in this match.
Right.
Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy, which but we do have the Murder Hawk is going to be in there. Andrade El Idolo. Pac allegedly going to be on TV again. Hopefully his visa issues, talking about real life problems here. Hopefully he can get his visa set up here and actually make an appearance. Moxley is going to be in there. And then that Joker.
Now this is where I was going with this. Or I don't know. Do you want to take a stab before I put in there who I actually think it's going to be? And I think it's a good idea. But that's where I was coming in. You have the Joker. You have the Fiend. His mask is based off the Joker. They keep saying the Joker, the Joker, the Joker, the Joker. Then it would, I feel like they're just trying to force this connection of who it would be. But I think there's a better route to go. Do you want to give a stab as to what that better route would be or who you think it should be? And knowing AEW, the Joker's going to win this match. Like, they love doing that.
That's my thing is the way that they want to book this, right? And have they like giving you a real payoff that you hung in there to see who the surprise was going to be. That's why it's almost like it has to be either Bryan Danielson or somebody in the Elite tries to enter and Bryan takes their spot.
Whoa. I don't know if I'd like that. I would be kind of disappointed, to be honest. That I want to see Danielson just continue the I guess the
like I know
the
that he's kind of
conversation
doing his own thing,
with
like kind of making his way through the Elite's ranks, right?
Yeah.
But just don't forget, you would get Bryan going up against Pac. You'd get Bryan making a face-off with Andrade. You'd get Bryan with a face-off against Moxley. And then you'd get him going up against Orange Cassidy if you wanted a comedy moment. It's just, woo! I don't know how many matches Bryan has left in AEW. I don't know how long he's going to stay. I know he didn't say it was a super short contract, but I don't know how many years we can really expect from him. And if we're just going to get some cameos here for these dream encounters, it might be an ensemble match like this to try and knock out a few of those. He can't have an elongated dream feud with all of them. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, we're just going to have him clash with a few of these guys just, for some cameos.
Well, let me go back to Jacoby. I threw this up, and for anybody listening to the podcast, obviously you can't see what's on our stream, but Jacoby's going Buddy Murphy. Here's my thought, Mike. We've been talking about this guy getting a title shot. You go internal. Let's not bring in a new guy to be the Joker. We got to get him back into the main event picture, and people are going to go fucking nuts when he comes out because he's kind of been in the shadows. We've kind of, been trying to force everybody to forget.
I know who you're going for, you little rascal. God damn it, why didn't I think of this? Jacoby, hope you're buckled in because I'm about to get mad at Matt's pick too. Matt, does his moniker start with an H?
Yeah.
Damn it, I knew it.
Can I just real quick?
Jacoby, are you buckled in? Buckled in? Because
I'm so sleepy. I had to go in my the Rolodex for a half a second and go moniker. Just flip through it. Go,
it's
what
okay.
does that mean again?
Jacoby, this is Matt's pick, and if you want to figure it out, we're gonna play a little game called Hangman.
Shut the fuck up. That's right. Adam Hangman Cole. Baby. No, Adam. Sorry. Adam Page. Just threw in a bad joke to confuse everybody. I think this is how you get Hangman back in the main event, and nobody has to ask any questions because he's gonna win. He's gonna win a match to do it. We can just usher him right back in there. Now, Mike, maybe you know this. Is this a Full Gear title match? Are we waiting a month, or do they just get another AEW Dynamite title match, or do we just not know that yet?
I don't think we know that yet, but I am hoping that it gets a little bit more fanfare than our beloved Jungle Boy got against Kenny Omega, because that it kind of was a nondescript. It was on a Saturday night, and we were kind of like, it wasn't quite the opportunity, quite the showcase that we thought that Jungle Boy had earned. And it just feels like, they're with these Jungle Boy matches, like he had the one with Kenny Omega this past Wednesday. He had the one with Adam Cole, and he lost on a low blow. He's a young enough guy that, we can wait on his mega push, right?
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be one of those things like when WWE was kind of like, kicking their feet in the dirt and filibustering with some dream matches with the Shield, And then when they finally were ready to pull the trigger on him, everybody got injured. Either Rollins was out for a year, or Mox was getting hurt, or we know what happened to poor Roman. So they had to keep punting on these dream matches. So I know Jungle Boy's young, but I think he's got enough positive crowd heat. You could really do something with him. But yeah, man, that Hangman Page pick, I'm very jealous of that. It's a very good pick.
Thank you. We're also getting coming up for Dynamite. Like, this is something too where, like, you just compare this upcoming AEW Dynamite to Extreme Rules. We're also getting the Elite versus Jurassic Express, Christian Cage, and probably more reason that Bryan Danielson won't be involved in that casino ladder match. Bryan Danielson. Just giving it away. Here we go. I mean, week after week, we are getting amazing programming. 1 week we're getting Arn Anderson flipping his name around to the NRA.
Yeah, I didn't realize for 30 years I was pronouncing his name wrong, and his name was not NRA. Arn Anderson, but Armed Anderson. God, that was a terrifying promo. I am never cutting off an old fat man in a tweed vest ever again.
Has Arn motivated Cody? Will he just put himself in that match?
I hope so. Can we do a quick sidetrack on that? Because I want to poo-poo on Bleacher Report real quick.
Yeah, take a big old stinky dump on it. Yeah.
I got a big stinky.
Here we go. Can I just, in the background while you're doing this, can I just keep going? Yeah, get him.
No, that sounds kind of sexual, man. It doesn't sound like a dump.
Well, that's what I was going for. But
big stinky. I want to drop a big stinky grumpy right on Bleacher Report. Because they are not getting the point at all. They gave that segment with Arn Anderson calling out Cody, and Cody coming out to thunderous boos on his way to the ring. And I disagree, Cody. Let me make the case. I think Cody is so effing self-aware of what a mistake he made like 2 months ago with those weird self-congratulatory promos where he was talking about how woke he is, about having, being part of a, mixed race, couple and his daughter. And then he was saying, I understand the black experience. And then people were like, what? Not really. That's not the same. Marrying into it is not the same as being the person. And I think it's right from there that his, babyface push, and it just totally swerved and but I don't think he made that promo to create the Homelander character that he is now, but one of those weird WWE we knew all along because of something that naturally happened. He suddenly built one of the more interesting heels that we loathe and love to hate. Malachi Black is an evil priest, and we're cheering our hearts out for him because he's going up against Homelander. And I think that Bleacher Report is totally not getting it. They gave all those segments a D and F. They're like, it's just time to turn Cody heel. He's already been doing it. He fucked up 2 months ago. He's blatantly coloring all of his gear to look exactly like Homelander in The Boys.
Yeah,
I don't know how blind you have to be. Like, this guy, he gets it. He's got a finger on the pulse in the culture, the social media. He knows what he's doing. And he's suddenly created, arguably, outside of MJF, the biggest heel in the company.
I think, too, how many times have we seen it go wrong where, the heel side of things is embraced, and then immediately the fans are like, this is what I want. Yeah, all right, Cody, yeah, you're a heel, woohoo! We're such fucking morons as wrestling fans that we will immediately applaud when Cody gives us what we want. So if he continues to play dumb and tries to be a face, I think that's him being aware of how deep in the shit he is. That's why he needs to keep doing that. The second that he turns and goes full heel, which shouldn't happen for a while,
so the interest and intrigue is gone.
the fucking heat, if he puts himself in that casino ladder match and they sell it as him putting himself in there because he he knows this is what he needs to do. This is what Arn was talking about. He needs to come out and give like this completely unaware.
I'm gonna save AEW.
Yeah, like this unaware promo before the match starts of him talking about saving AEW is a great way to put it. And he goes out and wins. Maybe like even pulls who's in the match was who would be the best? Like maybe Pac or Andrade is about to win, and Cody at the last second comes running up to win the match, and he's just celebrating like he's fucking Rocky in the middle of the ring, yelling out to Brandy. That would be the way to book it. And you know what else you do? This thought popped in my head while we were going about this. I think if they continue with this rule that Cody can't win the AEW championship or fight for it, this might sound ridiculous right now, but it popped in my head, so I'm going to throw it out there. What do you think about Cody getting like an alternate AEW championship? So we have a new title that comes out, but this roster is going to get big, right? And this is something that Cody has. Maybe it's all black or something like that. And it's just something that he can carry around as what he would say he's like the self-proclaimed AEW champion. Like I'm doing this so I can be your champion. And he's still, unaware, but he has some belt to carry around that he's giving himself.
I think there's the likelihood of that on Rampage, right? Some sort of belt, there. So I don't think that's that far-fetched. I just I like that idea you're getting to a moment ago, because it's not like the best heels.
Back up. Get away from the title idea. Go.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I could see a possibility. So the best heels, I don't think it's, or even villains, right? It's not necessarily that they're just as evil as possible. It's that they're doing their own distorted version of good, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why, we thought Thanos was one of the better Marvel villains, because he wasn't always just doing the most evil, wretched shit he could think of. He thought he was benefiting existence, by committing genocide. So I think that could be the same thing with Cody, where he thinks that he's doing a service for us, and he's still kind of not. What do you mean? I'm doing this for you guys. I'm saving you. This is great. Look at me. Yeah, I'm very intrigued, and I hope that they don't make him evil quickly, because I think that that's something that wrestlers and going heel, that they some pitfalls that they do fall into. You should aim to be more like Sami Zayn when he's a heel, because he's another guy who he's not doing evil shit. He's just doing things that he thinks are positive, but it's a distorted reality.
That is a great example, Mike. Good job. You should go right for WWE and AEW. Just go do something bigger than this. All right. Well, I'm ready to. That was a lot of wrestling from either show, and it's 11:43. And Matt's ready for bed. Well, he's not ready for bed. Matt's going to be editing for a while. He'd like to be ready for bed. So, any final thoughts before I sail us off into the sunset?
No, just I'm excited for Dynamite again next week, and I'm excited for who's in that draft pool on Monday for the big auction draft. And Matt, I'm pumped to have another 8-hour podcast next Friday.
I
I
can't do it. I know Monday Night Raw has been good the last couple of weeks, but knowing that I'm getting these fudgy rules,
you're gonna get some Bearcat segments. We're getting Big E, draft picks.
I was supposed to get Drew McIntyre versus Big E, and now that got taken away from me. So I can also be sore about that. That was the big exclamation mark at the end of Monday Night Raw that had me finishing a load. So I'll just leave it at that. All right. Hey, thanks for coming out, Jacoby. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a blast, Jacoby. And Benjamin, Greg, Patrick, man.
Michael Script sighting. Thanks everybody for coming in. All right, we'll see you guys we'll see you guys next week. We'll make sure to put out when the episode's going to start ahead of time, like we did this week, so you guys can join us on time. All right, toodaloo.